Hello, this is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com for the papercraftcrew.com. Today we're going to be going over or making this card from the Eastern Palace brand new Stampin' Up suite that I spoke about in the last video. And here you're just getting another look at the dies. And there is a card. And this is a card that we'll be making. It's going to be a standard A2 side folding card. We're going to be using the layering dies and then the retired circle framelits as well too. They work perfectly together. It's an investment. I keep them. I will be cutting 4 different sizes, one out of Very Vanilla, the others out of the brand new Eastern Palace Specialty Designer Series paper. And you're getting another look at it. I want solid patterns there, because everything else is so light, including the ink. I just needed something to really pull that together. We're not going to use that punch. I changed my mind. There's our background stamp. It's called Off the Grid, which is also retired. I will not be using Basic Gray since that ink pad is completely dry. So I end up switching, and I'm just showing you the products that we will be using that I went over in the last video as well. But to remind you, our ink colors are going to be Dapper Denim, Tranquil Tide, Fresh Fig, and Lemon Lime Twist. So we're going to be featuring 3 brand new ink colors too. I'm going to go ahead and put down all of those circle dies, and I'm going to make a pass through my Big Shot at one time and get them all the way cut out for you. Now I have my Very Vanilla thick cardstock that I'm going to be putting on a piercing mat just to keep it down so I can stamp my circles out. And that's just some of that 3M tape that a lot of people put on their die cuts to keep them held down. I'm going to end up turning it over and having to put down some masking tape or just tape from a roll because that's not sticking all the way down. So while I'm doing all of this, we're going to talk about the card a little bit. Super clean, very easy to do, and you know I love those kinds of cards. You can mass produce this one, super simple too. And what I'm going to do now is start laying down my Off the Grid stamp. Once again, that's retired. I'm going to be using Smoky Slate, and I'm going to stamp it off once. And then just kind of start randomly stamping it on top of my card. I wanted to see how it looked full strength. And it was a little bit too heavy for my design. So now I'm going to start laying down my smoky shadow with Off the Grid, stamping it off, and I also stamp it off the side of the card for a more random kind of look. And I realize I'm out of frame here a little bit. I'll get back in a second. But it's kind of a cool stamp, and it just puts down something to cover up that that Very Vanilla cardstock. It just needed something very subtle in the background. And so far, I think it's looking pretty cool. So there is how it looks. Now let's go ahead and decorate up an envelope. Which is kind of unusual for me. I never do that. So once again, we're going to grab that Off the Grid. Then we're going to grab, looks pretty cool. It's light enough too. We're going to grab that Eastern Beauty stamp set and the largest circle in it. We're going to stamp it into Lemon Lime Twist, and then check it out when you see it. Oh, gotta brag about the mono eraser, just in case you get anything on your paper. It's kind of sandy. Love it. Okay, here we go, putting down that really cool color. And I'm just going to plop that right in the middle. It's big enough to write the recipient's name and address and everything like that. And it just really goes with the card. and I think it is pretty cool. So we're going to go ahead and set that aside, and we are going to bring our card back in, and this is where I end up using just regular office tape to go ahead and tape it down from my cute little Doxy tape dispenser, Target. Now I am going to start stamping my circles in the same 4 colors I mentioned at the very beginning of the video. And I have pulled circles from 4 different stamp sets here, and there's a lot more in the Stampin' Up! Collection too that you can use, but I wanted some different circles. I could really kick myself for not using Swirly Bird. Oh, that would have been perfect. So my first one at the top is going to be stamped in Dapper Denim. So we're going to be using Eastern Beauty, Fresh Fruit, Ready to Pop, and that's the tag for our circles. The next one I'm going to be moving down to is, that looks like it's, yeah, Fresh Fig. And that's a circle that we're going to be putting our sentiment in as well. And you'll see that later on down the line because I did something a little bit different than I did on the card I showed you. Next circle is going to be in Tranquil Tide, and that's going over to the left right now. And when you take a look at the stamp sets, you'll kind of know which is which in the description. Going back to Dapper Denim, and that image right there, that does come from the Eastern Beauty stamp set. And I'm just using my Lawn Fawn chamois real quick to wipe them off. Back over to the left again, that is in Fresh Fig. That circle comes from the Fresh Fruit stamp set. So I'm just kind of moseying along here. And I think I'm getting, no, we have another circle stamped in Tranquil Tide. Now I think I'm going to bring in the Big Mama after I close my ink pads, because I do end up sticking my elbow in one eventually. But so far we're looking pretty good. That's the exact same thing as the envelope, so that's where you can see it coordinates really well. I didn't speed this video up as much as I normally do. I can't seem to find like a 2.5. It just goes from 2 to 3. And I'm giving that a nice press, and there we go. There's that one pop that I needed. I'm kind of looking at this from a smaller, there you go, from a very small window, so when I look at it in real time on YouTube, I see something completely different. So here I am arranging those circles I cut out at the very beginning of the video, trying to get a good layout and get everything cohesive looking and not to have the same colors next to each other too much. Now this is where I'm doing my sentiment. I'm going to heat emboss it just with some VersaFine black onyx ink and some clear embossing powder. On my sample card I showed at the very beginning, it was gold embossed. It got lost in there because of the gold sequins, and my powder was a little bit light. And I'm just using my Misty so I get a nice, good impression on this. And this is the mini Misty. So I'm going to line it up, make sure it's straight, use my embossing buddy so I don't get powder where I don't want it, even though it's clear. And surprisingly enough, you can see how dark that was on the door there to the Misty. I got a very good impression. So I'm pretty happy about that. See how I'm scrubbing that stamp with the chamois? On sentiment stamps and delicate stamps, you kind of have to do that with that stamp chamois because you do want to get there in between the crevices. Once a week, I take all of my stamps out that I've used and I give them a good cleaning with the ink cleaner and the stamp pad. So now I just kind of dumped my sentiment into my clear embossing container. I have the Stampin' Up heat tool. I turn it on setting 2, and I'm letting that puppy heat up for a good 30 seconds to get it hot, hot, hot. Because I want my sentiment and basically everything to emboss as fast as possible so I don't get any warping. Not too concerned about this since I am going to go ahead and die cut it out. But look how fast that it warps when you let your heat tool speed up. So all I'm going to do now is get the matching circle, pop it on top, and then run that through my die cutting machine. Now here's where I think my camera turned off and you missed me adhering the circles. All I did was put some foam tape on them, stamp in dimensionals, and just set them up the way that I did in the back. Now here's another beautiful look at our Eastern Beauty stamp set. And look at all those little teeny tiny images in there. They do have a purpose, and I've just recently discovered it, and I've been playing with them an awful lot, and I'm looking forward to showing you exactly what you can do with them. I think my video somehow uploaded out of line. Don't ask me. I'm still kind of new at this. Those are the dies. I'm just doing some more explaining and what you can cut out of the designer series paper with a lot of the dies, and that's something I'm going to leave you up to experience yourself, because with our DSP, anytime it has any kind of gold foiling or anything like that, there is nothing on the back of it. But experiment, use the dies, and go ahead and have some fun most of all. And this is what our card is looking like so far. And it is very cool with all those great colors that we have in there, especially with the background. So now I've grabbed a few sequins from some leftover paper pumpkin kits that's going to coordinate with the colors I've chosen. So I have like a purple one, a blue one, and then a very light, almost see-through chartreuse one, and they look pretty good on there. So I'm very happy with the way that it turned out. My camera shut off with the sentiment. All I did was die cut that out, as you saw, run it through my Xyron and stick it right in the middle, but I wanted a size, if you look at it, and you'll see a picture at the very end, that actually fit inside both lines of that circle. I have an outer one right there, as you can see, and then I have a dotted one. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you can see that. So we hope that you enjoyed today's presentation of the new in colors and just this really super clean and simple card and all the new products from Stampin' Up that you can pre-order from your favorite design team member who's a demonstrator on May 1st. Once again, thank you for joining us for our challenge. We certainly hope to see you again next week, and God bless you. We hope that you have a great day, and we always participate or appreciate your participation. So until the next time, God bless and have a fabulous day.